Calling case 2022 CV 1494, Patrick Tomlinson versus Andrew Nadolski. Sir, can you please say your name for the record?
Patrick Sean Tomlinson.
And sir, can you say your name for the record?
Andrew Jacob Nadolski.
You both just raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Commissioner Jason Mishla. We are here on the request of Mr. Tomlinson for a harassment injunction against Mr. Nadolski. Service was accomplished at about 9:08, so it was served 1 hour prior to the hearing. So we will proceed. Mr. Tomlinson, you were born April 18th, 1980.
That's correct.
And are you a Milwaukee County resident?
I am.
Mr. Nadolski, were you born January 26th of 1992?
Correct.
And you actually live in Indianapolis?
Yes.
And Mr. Tomlinson, you're saying that Mr. Nadolski is a total stranger to you, but he's been harassing you for a period of approximately 3 years?
Not exactly. He is a complete stranger to me. I've never seen him before in my life until just now. However, he is part of a cyber stalking group that has been harassing me nonstop for 3.5 years. When he joined that group, I don't know. He only made himself known to me approximately 1 month ago when he started harassing me via text, threatening me, and then showed up at Hooligans, which is an establishment that I frequently go to, at approximately 1 o'clock in the morning, demanding to know where I was so that he could beat my ass. Excuse the expletive.
Can I ask you, do you know why this group has chosen to target you?
This group does this just for fun. They have done this to other targets in the past, but I'm probably the longest term focus of theirs. There is no rhyme or reason. There is no anything that any rational, mentally healthy person would recognize as a cause or justification for what they do. This is just what they do for fun.
All right, in order to grant this, I would need to find that there are reasonable grounds to find that the respondent has engaged in harassment, which is defined as striking, shoving, kicking, or otherwise subjecting the person to physical contact or engaging in an act that would constitute child abuse, sexual assault or stalking, or attempts or threats to do any of the same, or engaging in coercive conduct or appealing to acts which harass or intimidate and which serve no legitimate purpose. Mr. Tomlinson, is everything in your statement of March 7th true and correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Nadolski, are you contesting this injunction?
Yes.
All right, we will then have a court hearing. Both parties are put on notice that anything that is said can be used in other proceedings, both civil and criminal. Both parties have the right to appeal my decision to the judge. Actually, I want to take one step back, and I'm realizing there's one thing I'm slightly confused about. Mr. Tomlinson, I believe that I just heard you say that this is the first time you are laying eyes on him. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Does that make me mean that, does that indicate that you did not see him at that bar?
No, I had already been home for several hours at that point because I'm now 25 and don't close up bars anymore.
Do you have any witnesses with you today?
No, but I can certainly bring them if necessary.
Well, this is the day for the hearing, though you do have the right to appeal. Do you understand that you cannot testify as to what anyone told you about him going to the bar?
I do not understand that.
You can't.
Well, I have their testimony in text messages and instant messages.
I can't accept any of that.
Okay, they have made statements to the police.
I can't accept any of that. Unless they are here, I can't hear their testimony.
Okay.
Mr. Nadolski, do you have any witnesses here today?
No.
All right. Mr. Tomlinson, what specifically, so I'm talking about individual incidents, do you have firsthand knowledge that Mr. Nadolski has done to you?
Well, I know for certain that he has texted me harassing messages multiple times after being instructed to cease contact. I know that he has threatened me in these messages, threatened to beat me up.
So tell me about these text messages.
Well, I have them right here if you'd like to see them.
They're not printed out?
No, sir. No.
Okay. So how did you know that these text messages came from Mr. Nadolski?
Because he sent me a picture of his driver's license.
When did he do that?
During the text exchanges about a month ago, leading up to him showing up at the bar looking for me.
So let's go to the text messages about the driver's license. Do you have those up on your phone?
I can bring them up. It will take me a moment.
Okay.
Please excuse me, this is going to take a little while. This group texts me from new random numbers dozens of times per day.
I guess while you're doing that, Mr. Tomlinson, I do have one question which I think the allegation begs.
Certainly.
If you are saying that Mr. Nadolski is part of a anonymous group on the internet that stalks people, why would he possibly text you a picture of his driver's license?
Because he's an arrogant idiot. This is the first time any of them have broken their anonymity.
Don't you think it's equally possible that this group is doing the same thing to him that they're doing to you?
No, it is not.
Why not?
Because he is part of the group.
But how do you know that?
Because they embrace him fully.
How do you know that?
Because they have a website dedicated to their harassment of me and my family.
Okay, go ahead, sir. So let's find the text.
Yep.
So wait, so you're saying there is a website that I could Google right now,
Yep.
and it would be about this group?
Yes. With over 200,000 posts dedicated to stalking me, harassing me, setting up and bragging about their plans to do so, and obsessing over absolutely every last detail of my life.
Okay. All right, if you can find an individual text that you say is from Mr. Nadolski.
Yes, again, give me a moment. I'm nearly there. Okay. Here's one from February 12th. Would you like me to hand you my phone or read it aloud?
If you can just read it aloud.
Okay. Hi, my name is Angela Nadolski, and I think you're a fat faggot and a possible pedophile who should be bullied until suicide. Have fun being a middle-aged loser whose entire life revolves around with Twitter and your shitty books. See you at Hooligans. I said, and then I replied, your name is nothing, stalker, because you can't but lie. Then why did you sue for the names of everyone who trolls you? And I did not lie, stalker. I am Andrew Nadolski. And this goes on. You're so far gone that even if people tell you the truth, you can't recognize it. Why would I lie, Chuckle? And then, after blocking that number, as I do a dozen times or more every day, he continued. Oh, no, I got to back out of that to find the actual spot. And then again, this is after I had already blocked the number, so these messages all go into a separate folder within the phone. And this is all starting at about 8:48 p.m. that evening, which was Saturday, February the 12th, as it happens, so just a little over a month now. I don't have a social media presence, but my name is in fact Andrew Nadolski, and I have a bone to pick, child. It's amazing how you haven't learned a lesson in 3 years. You are the same in-denial asshole that you always were, misspelling. If you were to offer an honest and candid look into your life and take responsibility for why you are who you are and what you're shit on O&A, O&A is short for Obi and Anthony, which is the group in question here. So what you're shit on
what is the group in question?
Obi and Anthony, it's a group that started out as a fan base for a now long dead shock jock radio show based out of New York. This is a very long and stupid story, sir, but the fact is, like, this group originated as a group of fans for a shock jock radio show. That show went off the air. Those shock jocks had over the years weaponized their fans and their followers and used them to attack people anonymously online and stalk them in public. Once they no longer had a show, the fan base didn't have any targets to be pointed out, so they started picking their own, which is where about 3.5 years ago I came into this mess.
The original text that you read references your books. What are those? What's that in reference to?
I'm an author.
What type of books do you write?
I write science fiction mostly. Anyway, to continue. If you take a candid look into your life and take responsibility for why you are, who you are, and why you're shit on by O&A on a daily basis, you'd be a sympathetic character, but you won't. How is it possible for someone to never grow like you do? What's your favorite beer, faggot? I like Francis Connor. What if I came to Hooligans and said hi? And again, this is all coming from someone I've never met, never interacted with in any capacity, anywhere. He simply took it upon himself to start randomly and harassing someone he had never met and had never had interactions with before. He decided to look at things that he had seen online, all of which are complete lies told about me by sociopaths, and take that as a reason and a cause to attack me, to threaten me, and then to drive from Indianapolis and show up at a place that I am known to frequent so that he could try and kick my ass.
The text that you just read, are those the only ones you can identify as coming from Mr. Nadolski?
They use a service either on their phones or their laptops that allows them to generate spoofed phone numbers. So I never actually get their real phone numbers. And other than that one set of texts from Mr. Nadolski, I'm never able to identify who's actually doing it because they're not sending it from real phone numbers. They're sending them from unassigned ones. So whether or not any of the other literally thousands of texts I've gotten were from Mr. Nadolski or one of the other people, I have no way to know. Not without, help from cyber crimes unit of the FBI or something.
And you're saying that you have witnesses that he came to the bar, confessed to your friends?
Yes, 3 of them, all of which have made statements to the police.
Have the police done anything yet?
Well, the police were not able to do anything because he's not a Milwaukee resident, which is why I went through the avenue of taking out this protective order.
And you didn't bring those people because?
I was not aware of the nature of this hearing, sir. There was no instructions on what was going to be expected of me.
What did you think we'd be doing today?
Oh, I thought you would be listening to what I had to say. I did not realize that witnesses were going to come into it, nor did I realize that the fact that they had already given statements directly to the police would not be admissible. I would have assumed they would be. I apologize, sir. I don't spend very much time in court.
All right, is there anything else you want to introduce today?
I mean, the rest of it doesn't, pardon me. everything else that we've experienced, to the best of my knowledge, doesn't directly relate or can be laid at the feet of Mr. Nadolski. But this group has, for 3 years, been terrorizing us. I mean, they've sent death threats, they've vandalized our home, they've trespassed on us, they've attempted to get our home swatted, they've made false reports to the police, blaming me for everything from arson to kidnapping and murder. I know that at one point in, I think it was May 2020, during lockdowns, they managed to get the police called out to our home at 11 o'clock at night, banging on our door with their hands on their guns because they had believed a report that I was kidnapping African American children and grinding them up into pepperoni in my basement, which they all thought was absolutely hilarious, didn't you? Yeah.
Sir, don't do that. Mr. Nadolski, do you wish to make any statement?
Not at this time, no. While I was made aware of this, I have not been able to retain legal counsel, which, due to the short notice of this, and I also was only served approximately an hour ago, so I haven't been able to process exactly what he's accusing me of.
Do you wish to make any statement about whether you sent the text that he stated?
I did. But I don't believe that one night of admittedly not nice text messages constitutes harassment. And also, he's saying that I threatened to kick his ass, yet in the text that he read off, I never once said that. And I, to my recollection, never did threaten to beat his ass, although he did threaten me with violence, and I have proof of that.
No, I did not.
Yes, he did.
No, I did not.
How did he threaten you with violence?
How was it he worded it? That when 911 comes for me, I'll just be cleanup. I won't be an emergency.
I guess this is what I don't understand. I don't understand why you're having any contact with him at all.
I'm not going to make excuses for myself. It was, I would call it silliness, one night of silliness. And after he threatened me, then basically I went to the bar just see if he was going to follow up on his threats.
I did not threaten you, sir. You're simply lying.
They're in the text messages.
So, what is the threat you say that he sent you?
Like I said, that 911 wouldn't be there as an emergency just for cleanup, presumably to clean me up off the sidewalk or something. I'm not sure exactly what he meant with it, but it sounded pretty threatening to me.
And how did he send you that?
Over text message.
Sir, did you send a text message to that effect?
No, I did not. I have all the texts right here.
Do you have a copy of this text message, sir?
On my phone, yes.
Do you have your phone with you?
Yes.
Can you bring it up?
Would you like me to show it to you or just read it off?
Well, so this is after you sent him a text?
Yes, I'm not going to deny that I initiated contact.
So what did you say to him? What do you say your text was?
I said, "Where are you at? I want to buy you a beer." And then he said, "You have been instructed to cease contacting this phone number. Continuing to do so constitutes felony telephone harassment. Do not contact this number again." I said, "I just want to say hi, little baby child. Hooligans isn't that busy, is it? See you soon. First class ticket to prison, stalker," is what he said. And I said, "Oh, baby child, please do. I love prison. Keep 911 on speed dial. Happy to accommodate you, stalker." And then I said, "You there, little baby child?" And he said, "Don't need to, stalker. You won't be an emergency, just clean up."
So you're saying you didn't send that text?
I do not remember sending that text. I remember telling him repeatedly to cease contacting me. And when he continued to do so after that, he knew he was committing a crime. He did so anyway.
Mr. Nadolski, what is the connection to him?
I'm sorry?
What is the connection to Mr. Tomlinson?
Between me and him?
Yes.
He's just a bizarre internet personality that he's a very unlikable person, and his telephone number was available on the internet, and while it probably would have been better for me to use a public platform like his Twitter to tell him what I thought of him, for whatever reason that night I thought it would be, I'm not going to say I thought it would be appropriate, but I did text him.
What do you mean he's a bizarre internet presence? What does he
Well,
post about?
he seemed to think that this Opie and Anthony fan group follows him for no reason, that he was picked at random. But he has a bizarre habit of consistently feeding the trolls and escalating conflicts. He constantly sends people threats. He is just in general an abrasive personality.
Have he ever sent you a threat?
No.
So you just picked him out at random?
Well, no, I've been kind of looking at his internet presence for maybe a few months. I'm not sure how long.
And what type of forums does he post on?
Who, Mr. Tomlinson?
Yeah.
He posts on Twitter mostly.
About what? I guess I'm not understanding. So you like what types of things? I'm just trying to figure this out. This isn't making any sense. So
It is.
What are you saying you saw that you thought I'm going to call him up?
I mean, he has years-long history of just the way he engages people is bizarre. Like with the text messages I read off, I keep calling him child, little baby infant. That's how Mr. Tomlinson talks. And that's how he engages with people that he doesn't like. He talks in a very bizarre way. He, in general, just can't let any conflict go without getting the last word.
Have you ever contacted him prior to that night?
No.
Why does he believe that you're part of this group?
Well, after this incident, before this incident, I had never posted on her website, had an account there, but after, I made an account so I could tell my side of the story, because he was claiming that I sent him death threats, that I was going to kick his ass, all this other stuff. And I made an account so that I could tell my side of the story to them.
Sir, you brought a lawsuit against the other people in this group and it was dismissed just a couple of weeks ago? Voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Are there cases pending somewhere else?
No, sir, not at this time, although we are looking at other strategies. That is itself a very long story.
This is by far one of the stranger cases I've ever had. And I don't pretend that I have a great grasp of what exactly has happened in total. But what I do have is a fairly limited incident. And I am not going to grant this, and let me explain why. But I'm also going to give a caveat at the end. Though I am absolutely perplexed why Mr. Nadolski would reach out to contact someone that they basically just have an internet beef with. I have some suspicions alcohol might have been involved. It certainly was not a smart thing to do. And why he chose to then come to Wisconsin to see the person in person just is even more incomprehensible to me. But the reason that I'm not going to grant this is because I have to look at the actions of the petitioner as well. And basically, again, while all of this confounds me, I think what we basically have here is someone contacting someone they don't like on the internet and saying, I don't like you, I think you're bad. And the person who he contacted basically said, okay, if you want to fight, let's fight, and I'm going to beat the crap out of you.
That is not what occurred,
That's
sir.
what I interpret that text to mean.
No, sir, that is not what occurred.
Sir, that's what I interpret the text to mean. I think basically there was, again, while I don't understand why you reach out and do this, this makes no sense. This is one of the, I'll be quite blunt, this is one of the dumber things I've heard in this courtroom, Mr. Nadolski. To some extent, what we really have here is a very limited contact. I don't like you. Do you want to fight? I'll kick your ass. You accept the invitation.
Sir, I did not.
And for some mind-numbing reason, he comes here for the fight, which thank God doesn't happen.
Sir, I did not invite him to come here. I did not invite to fight him. That did not occur.
Sir, what you said was, I won't need 911. I think
That is after he had already threatened me.
I understand that.
That is after he had already said he was going to come and confront me. I did not say I wanted to fight him.
I think basically what happened is someone offered to fight, someone accepted the fight, and God, it didn't happen.
No, that is not what
But
occurred.
on that limited basis, I'm not going to grant harassment injunction. Mr. Nadolski, with this caveat, there is a clear line in the sand. You so much as send him a text of a rainbow, just doing something random. He doesn't want any contact with you. He's made that clear now. You can't contact him going forward. That could be the basis for a continued course of events as harassment. But based on what we have, I am not going to grant this. Case is dismissed for that reason.
Very well. How do we appeal the ruling?
You can get the information from the